Good morning. Welcome to Ready, Set, Connect. My name is Samantha Turner, and I am the Workforce Development Coordinator for the Midlands Education and Business Alliance. Today's webinar is geared towards business and industry in need of establishing a talented and prepared workforce for the future, as well as educators. Good morning. Welcome to Ready, Set, Connect. My name is Samantha Turner, and I am the Workforce Development Coordinator for the Midlands Education and Business Alliance. Today's webinar is geared towards business and industry in need of establishing a talented and prepared workforce for the future. Apprenticeship Carolina will discuss how combining relevant education with critical on-the-job experience provides the makings for a successful career and benefits not only youth and adults looking for work, but the employer. It is with great pleasure that I introduce today's guest presenters, Brian Rauschenbach, who manages the Youth Apprenticeship Programs, and Brandon Spence, who manages the Adult Apprenticeships with Apprenticeship Carolina. And I'm going to turn it over to Brandon Spence, Apprenticeship Consultant, again, who manages the Adult Apprenticeship Programs.
Thank you, Samantha. Good morning. I'm going to go over the adult portion of Apprenticeship Carolina, how we do things, and what can be expected of employers and schools and all the different entities that may be involved. All right. Very briefly, I'm going to go through the organizational structure just so folks can get an understanding of how we fit into the picture. Within the South Carolina Technical College system, we are kind of one piece of the Division of Economic Development. That includes Ready SC as well. And then as the technical college system as a whole, it's kind of split into two sides there on the credit programs and then the continuing education. And Apprenticeship Carolina works with both sides of the technical colleges in that respect. So credit programs referring mainly to associate degree level programs as well as diplomas and specialty certificates. And then the continuing education side is more focused on industry and corporate continuing education. So those are on-demand or custom courses or coursework that can be delivered to the companies, either at their site or at Midlands Technical College. Again, very briefly, our mission is to make sure that all employers throughout the state have access to the information and consulting services that are available at Apprenticeship Carolina to help them, design, develop, and ultimately, utilize the apprenticeship program. As a consultant, my job is to work for the companies throughout the state and to help pull all of those pieces together with the schools, the businesses, and any other folks that may be involved in the process. In this slide, this is kind of the key slide when it comes to understanding how an apprenticeship works and what the expectations are for both the employer and the employees. The first piece of this is the supervised on-the-job training, and what that is typical of what most companies do. You see here 2,000 hours per year supervised on-the-job learning. Well, 2,000 hours a year is typically a 40-hour work week for 1 year, and that time period can be changed, or it is dependent upon what the employer's needs are. So that could be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or 4 year apprenticeship. The second piece is the job-related education. And this is the part where we really help companies establish kind of a baseline for their employees and that development of employees and apprentices. Job-related education is basically any type of training or education that takes place while they're not on the job. They can be at work, but not in doing their duties within that particular occupation. So, for example, if you were to pull someone off of the production floor and they watched a safety video, that is job-related education, or they were spending time with a mentor teaching them some type of a specialty technique, for example, and that they would use to troubleshoot or fix a machine, that would be also counted as job-related education. But traditionally, the job-related education would be coursework through Midlands Technical College. That's the ideal way to manage it, and that's typically what we see in the way we work with employers, whether that's through credit program or non-credit programs, i.e. Continuing education. So 144 hours is contact hours, and so that really equates to about 3 weeks worth of training per year. Again, that depends on the job, the occupation, and the specifics that are required for that. And that can be customized, and that is all dependent upon the employer's needs. And the last piece is the scalable wage progression. This is a piece that most every company already has. This is basically where they're earning while they're learning, and this wage progression is again determined by the company and instituted by them, but it's not dictated by Apprenticeship Carolina or the Department of Labor or anyone. So we typically help with that a little bit, just to kind of help folks get an understanding of what the competitive market is like for different occupations. The next slide here mentions targeted industry clusters, and really, what this means is that this isn't our grandparents or parents' apprenticeship from back in the old days. You can apprentice thousands of different occupations. It's a model that makes sense, and quite frankly, it's used across the board. Our traditional apprenticeships, like plumbing, carpentry, electrical, make up maybe less than 10% of the apprenticeships that Apprenticeship Carolina does today. So we see a lot in advanced manufacturing. Healthcare is big, information technology, certainly tourism, and the service industry as well. Just quickly discuss the benefits before we head into the tax credit piece. The idea with an apprenticeship there is that we are, providing folks with the framework to become a highly skilled employee. It's kind of a roadmap, and it's customized to the needs of the company. When you standardize skills in the workplace, it becomes easier to train new employees or to train existing employees and move them into other occupations within the company. And ultimately that's going to lead to increased productivity and reduced turnover. What goes with that as well is the state tax credit, and that state tax credit is $1,000 per year. $1,000 per apprentice per year they're enrolled in the program, and I'll get into a little more of the details of that in just a minute. Just very briefly to look at the numbers with Apprenticeship Carolina and apprenticeships throughout the state. You can see there on the left, we started in 2007 with about 90 registered programs. That means there was roughly 90 companies in South Carolina that had a registered, fully credentialed apprenticeship program. Today there's over 747. And you can see the apprentices there on the left. We've got over 12,600 apprentices, where in 2007 we had about a little less than 800. I mentioned the tax credit earlier. It's pretty straightforward, $1,000 per apprentice per year they're enrolled. They can be enrolled for up to 4 years. This is a credit. It's not a deduction. This goes directly towards your bottom line. It goes to your state. It goes towards your state corporate income taxes. Hopefully this will be used to pay for some of the education or training that you may require. It may be used as a little slush fund to help beef up training potentially, but that's up to the company and how they like to do things. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Brian Rauschenbach, who is our youth apprenticeship consultant, and he will get into the details of the youth apprenticeship with you.
Good morning. Thanks, Brandon and Samantha, for having us here. And Brandon, that was a great segue into this. Youth apprenticeship has really taken off in South Carolina. Matter of fact, we're really one of the leading states in this. And what's great is that 16 and 17-year-olds can actually be youth apprentices in many different occupations and businesses across the state of South Carolina if they are a registered apprentice. And that's one of the benefits that is really offered through this program. And so, as you can see, with the Youth Apprenticeship Carolina, it's all about earning and learning. So Youth Apprenticeship provides South Carolina high school students a unique opportunity to earn while they learn. And this combines high school and or technical college curriculum, specifically on the career and technology side. And you couple that with on-the-job training at a local business, individuals that are going through this apprenticeship program, pulling a paycheck while they're earning a nationally recognized credential at the same time as their high school diploma. We'll get into some more benefits of that in just a moment. Next slide, just kind of give you a quick update. We started in 2012 with the youth side. Of course, Apprenticeship Carolina formed in 2007. And really got the adult piece up and running, and those are, when we say the adults, can typically consider those over the age of 18 that have already graduated high school or they're well on their way past high school. For the youth component, we're specifically talking about 16 and 17-year-olds that are still in high school, typically juniors and seniors. So in 2012, we had 5 companies across 2 counties that were offering registered apprenticeship programs to grow the future talent pool of workforce in South Carolina, and really that solid recruiting pipeline for companies. Well, to date, and through working through partnerships with the school districts across South Carolina, the Office of Career and Technology Education from Department of Ed, and our 16 technical colleges and employers, we now have 79 companies across South Carolina offering youth apprenticeship programs. And within these 79 companies, these cover approximately 22 to 23 counties across South Carolina. So on the right-hand side, you can see a sample of current occupations that these high school students and youth apprentices are actually working. So you can see from accounting technician, dealing with the business side of things, to child care development specialist, from some advanced manufacturing, going towards the industrial maintenance side, maintaining machines, repairing machines, keeping them up and running so that production can stay efficient. On down to machine tool operators and CNC operators. And then the hospitality side, whether it be guest services within a hotel or the culinary side with restaurants. We've also got folks working in IT, for doing computer programming and some help desk technician occupations, as well as the healthcare, construction, automotive, and even some things with the public sector for the water and wastewater operators. This next thing, I'm going to go ahead and try to show you a video, if it'll load properly, to get a perspective of a business that has been very successful with this. Jeremy Arnett is from United Tool and Mold in Pickens County, and they were the second company in South Carolina to come on board with youth apprenticeships, and they really get it, and they use it as a solid tool to grow their workforce and their pipeline.
Brown, and the answer was 100 times yes, because we were paying them into the person anyway, and we got to thinking, those things have lost spots. Where are we going to take those spots? We don't need to be disciplined now. We need to be disciplined in the first period. We've got 9 guys that are going to get with the time frames. The young guys, to shatter that ability to take a lot. It's not just big knowledge, it's not just extended knowledge. It's a very knowledge of how to read. And just that's great.
So that's Jeremy Arnett from United Tool and Mold, and they've had a lot of success with their program. I believe they've been running it for 3 years now, and they've had 9 youth apprentices. And those that start and they go on to the technical college to earn a machine tool technology associate degree, which is great for the business because they're investing in the technical college as well as growing their future workforce. And they have a pipeline of talent coming to them from the local career center or high school. So now we're going to briefly talk about how does it work. Generally just talk about building the pipeline of our typical process of working with companies and the school districts and or technical colleges across the state to see about getting this process started. So the first thing is that, education partners such as the local high schools, the career and technology centers, the technical colleges, or even Apprenticeship Carolina will identify business partners and occupations of interest. So if there are businesses out there or companies that are interested in this, then contact us at Apprenticeship Carolina and we'll help you connect to start building your future pipeline of talent. After the identification of partners is made, Apprenticeship Carolina will meet with the companies to determine what the on-the-job training looks like. We'll do that free of charge of working with the companies to develop a solid, customizable competency checklist that is a roadmap for someone to identify and to master their competencies through mentoring. We'll also identify the job-related education that is available for companies, things that may be available at the career centers or the local technical colleges. And then we'll look at the wage progression and also look at an apprentice selection process. One thing that's unique about the youth component is that we can help connect the companies and the educators to those folks that are interested in work through a application process and the selection criteria as determined by the business. The next piece is to looking at qualified candidates. So the education partner advises students, parents of opportunity and identifies the qualified candidates. We've had several parent-student nights. We actually talk about opportunities with them and bring businesses in to talk about the wonderful opportunities they have for the parents and for the students, so that the parents understand of what their child is getting ready to go do, knowing they're working in a safe environment with great opportunities. The next component is that once we've got this application process figured out and applications are handed out, the employer is ready to bring them on board and contacts the education partner to collect applications. And those that may pass the screening process as determined by the business will be forwarded applications from the education provider or education partner for the business to review. Next is that the employer actually conducts interviews with the individuals to determine if they're a good fit for their organization. And then if they're a good fit, then the employer can offer the high school student a job to be a youth apprentice. Next is that once they're hired, they actually begin the on-the-job training with the company, the supervised on-the-job training, and they're engaged in their job-related education. This can be through career courses at the career and technology centers, or it can be opportunities for them to attend some technical college classes on the technical side. It's also opportunities for dual credits. Next is that when students actually complete an apprenticeship program, first off is that the company has to sign off on it saying they've mastered their competencies. They don't just complete an apprenticeship program because they graduate high school or complete some classes. It's more than that. It involves that on-the-job training of mastering their competencies, completing their education, etc. But once they are recommended for completion, the students can graduate from high school. They have the high school diploma, receive a nationally recognized credential from the Department of Labor, as well as other applicable credentials that may be earned along the way. Regardless, those that complete the apprenticeship program on the youth side can continue with adult apprenticeship programs if a company has one set up. They can be hired full-time with business, or regardless have skills for a successful career and know what they want to do. So ultimately what it comes down to is that partnership really equals success. When you've got groups like Apprenticeship Carolina working with post-secondary, working with the K through 12 system, the teachers, the guidance counselors, the principals, the superintendents, and the businesses, we're all working together. There are many benefits involved, and one is that employers create crucial pipelines while decreasing costly turnover. The next is that employers can influence, mold, and shape future employees, catch them early, train them right the first time, train them how they want them to be trained, etc. Students bring in a paycheck while they learn. Students earn a national credential while also earning the high school diploma, and ultimately it really enhances the employability by learning in-demand skills for good paying jobs in the state of South Carolina. This next slide is a sampling of some of the participating companies. We've got companies like Robert Bosch and Charleston, MTU and Aiken, United Tool and Mold and Pickens, Caterpillar, Agape Senior, the list goes on. This last slide is our contact information, so you'll see that there. You've got Brandon Spence, who's an apprenticeship consultant, and myself, Brian Rauschenbach. I'm the youth apprenticeship consultant. You've got our work and our cell phone numbers as well as our email addresses. And at this time, I just want to say thank you for joining us for this webinar. I hope it has been useful to you. If there's anything that we can do to help, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to meet with you and to help your company grow. Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to Samantha.
Thank you to Brandon and Brian for joining us today for Ready, Set, Connect. Again, the information is right in front of you here if you're interested in contacting Brandon about setting up adult apprenticeships through your workplace, or Brian for youth apprenticeships. We look forward to connecting with you on the third Thursday of each month. This platform for 2015-2016 will be available on our website in the next within the next week. So we look forward to connecting with you again. Thank you and have a great day.